Hello, everyone. Good day. How are you? This is the Sage of Calidor coming to you with another video. I know it's been a while, but my famous phrase is better late than never, even though I bet some people might disagree. But hey, um, I'm here with another video, and well, roughly a month or so ago, the trailer for Warhammer 3 Total War came out. Um, it's really awesome, but don't take my word for it. My previous video, I used, I mean, my previous video, I talked about it, so feel free to take a look. But I recommend for you to check the trailer because the trailer is pretty good. Um, with Warhammer 3 coming out, there is one more thing I need to talk about. That book is there's dogs barking outside. The It is the last game of the Warhammer Total War trilogy. And so there's a lot of reasons to be excited about it. I'm excited about it. However, um, however, word has been spreading across the world of Creative Assembly that there is going to be another DLC pack, a final DLC pack for Total War Warhammer 2. And I think, so yeah, another one for Warhammer 2, and I think I know what it is. Um, I think it is going to be the Dark Elves because of all the races in actually, maybe to tell you the truth, maybe this thing should have come before your other one, but okay, you know what? Let's just go with the flow. Um, the reason why I believe the Dark Elves should get this new pack has to do with if you count the four starting races, the Lizardmen, the High Elves, the Dark Elves, and last but not least, the Skaven, um, three of those four factions all have about six legendary lords. The Skaven have six, the Lizardmen have six, the High Elves have six, but only the Dark Elves have five. And I think we'll see a legendary hero in this because it appears a lot of the major factions are going to get legendary heroes. I mean, the Skaven have one, the Wood Elves have Elario, and I think we will see the Dark Elves getting a hero. What kind is this? Well, I think it is Shadowblade, the death that walks unseen. He is the greatest assassin the Dark Elves have. An assassin trained in the arts of murder at the Shrine of Cain. He is a young elf. In lore, he is a young elf, only 2 centuries years old, and he's been known for many daring exploits. He killed an entire crew single-handed. He single-handedly wiped out a family, and his exploits are only growing. I mean, he I think he is the best choice, but I am not going to count out Talaris Dreadbringer, the captain of the executioners, and Coric Corian Darkhand, the captain of the Blackguard. Both of these guys have quite noted reputations. Dreadbringer, Talaris Dreadbringer, he was an old elf. He's considered the chosen of Cain. He actually was one of the founding executioners of Harganeth. And Cain was the god that touched him immensely, and he was only a child when he slew his first captive on the altar of Cain, and since then became one of Cain's holy warriors. I mean, this guy also led armies, and this guy is pretty notorious because, well, he just wiped out an entire town just because he didn't like their name. He didn't like its name. Corian Darkhand is the captain of the executioner. Corian Darkhand, the captain of the Blackguard, the leader of the leading commander of the personal bodyguard of Malekith, the Blackguard. And his youth was, well, quite simply, he grew up within the rigorous ranks of the Blackguard. He later left to gain renown. He fought in the armies, and later fought the current captain of the Blackguard in a duel, which later won him the rank of captain of the Blackguard. This guy is loyal to Malekith to the very end. Like, he said so to Malekith multiple times. It is my destiny, it is my dream to see you finally sit on the throne of a Phoenix King. Very dedicated, and he puts his money where his mouth is. I mean, this guy, you give him a job, or Malekith gives him a job, he does it. Even if he has to sacrifice half his army to lure his enemies into a trap. Even though it would be kind of cool to see these guys, I still think Shadowblade is going to be the likely option. And he would be, I can see, like an assassination. Like a very good assassin that you would want to use both on the battlefield and on the map. But who is the lucky legendary lord we are going to see? Well, I think it is going to be Rakarth, the Beastmaster of Claron Car. And he is actually one of the greatest, if not the greatest, Beastmaster of Claron Car. And it all started when he was just a child. His father was attempting to break this mighty black dragon named Brachus. But this dragon was not cooperating. And his father, to tell you on how uncooperative this dragon was, his father was considered one of the best of the dragon tamers. One of the best of the Beastmasters of Claron Car, the place where they train and break beasts and creatures to serve in the Dark Elf armies. Well, this dragon tested his father's patience to the point where his father ordered the dragon to be killed. But Rakarth made a deal with his father to allow him to keep the dragon if he could ride it, and his father agreed. Yeah, I don't know how that talk would go out, but Dark Elf culture is kind of rather tough love, and I guess this kind of falls under, okay, fine. If you want to risk your life, son, go ahead and do it. Do it. Well, Rakarth walked up to the dragon and gave him this piercing stare, and there was something in his eyes that the dragon was actually a kindred spirit, to be honest. The Brachus discovered that Rakarth and him were kindred spirits, and basically allowed him to mount the dragon and ride him ride him. And ever since then, this is cool. Brachus have been Rakarth's mount ever since. I would love to see this as a lore, as his mount in the game. And Rakarth was actually, and to tell you on how good this guy was, Malekith, when some of Malekith's agents discovered a nest of dragon's eggs in the spiteful peaks, from which Seraphon, the future mount of the Witch King, would hatch, Rakarth was one of the ones, in fact, pretty much the go-to guy for training these guys. Because Malekith, he was like, I want you to train my dragon on the highest level, the best of the best. And this guy was given the honor of training the dragon, and I say it is incredible. And other information is, well, he's likely going to have some rules that will favor monstrous creatures. I mean, I know Malice Darkblade does have a good monstrous creature thing, but I would not be surprised if Rakarth also has bonuses to various creatures. And for magical items, well, he has a Whip of Agony, which, from my understanding, it does damage to monstrous creatures. So a whip, mind you, that's anti-large and probably armor piercing. Wow, that's going to hurt. And there's also armor such as, it's either the beast armor of Clarent Carr and the armor of Fortune. The armor of Fortune was, I believe, in an army book, but in Warhammer Chronicles 3, Rakarth was seen using the beast armor of Clarent Carr. However, he also has an enchanted shield. So, should this guy happen to be the legendary lord, I hope he is, this guy is going to be an anti-monster killer. Hey, I would love to see he is one of those guys that might temporarily, with his Whip of Agony, have this special ability that temporarily gets control of his opponent's monster. I think that would be a very fun and scary ability, but you know how there's a lot of balance mechanics to take care of. And he actually has a unit to go with him. Now, I admit I talked about this with a friend recently who talks about how what these guys would go as might, well, he thinks he has another reason for the legendary pack, and he says we might not get a unit. However, I believe we might get a unit for Rakarth. Even though it's going to be, it is a Hydra, I will admit that. It is a type, it is a spell thirster Hydra. These are a rare breed of war Hydras. And why is this important? Well, the origins of this creature happened after Rakarth fought a bitter battle against the High Elves. He led his armies and amassed the largest force of war Hydras in history. With 9 creatures at his command, he predicted a swift victory, but 3 elven mages accompanied the enemy, and within minutes combined magical barrages of high magic that whittled the Hydra's numbers down to 3, 2 of which broke and fled. And Rakarth vowed never to be defeated by high magic again, and formed a pact with Morathi. And both of them gave this remaining war Hydra called Diathery or Burning Fury. They mutated the creature with magic, not the full chaos magic, but the same magic that gave rise to the Black Dragons. And during his next appearance on the battlefield, it was found he was physically weakened, but he developed a strong resistance to magic, especially high magic. And Dairlethi was retired from battle, and to this day, only 1 out of every 10 of his offspring had these abilities. So I believe we will gain a special type of Hydra, which some people complain but say, yeah, but this is going to be a reskin, blah, blah, blah. Still, let me get they might make some alterations. I am well aware that the Dark Elf roster seems virtually full, and all there needs is there might be some reskinning. Skinning, even though I'm sad to admit it. But a spell thirster is a Hydra with magic resistance and is kind of weaker in physical combat. However, I would not be surprised if he had. However, it is still a Hydra. And Hydras have regeneration. Guess what this means? That's right. You're going to have a war Hydra that is resistant to magical fire attacks. And I think that is going to be pretty cool. And what faction is Rakarth going to be? He might be stationed as a faction leader of Clarent Carr. It's a possibility. However, Rakarth is not the leader of Clarent Carr, or at least I don't think he is, because I don't think he is. I could be wrong, but I don't think he is. I think someone else is in charge of it. And I think he is part of his own expedition. But to explain this, I need to tell you something that I found out while I was looking over preparing for this video. I've noticed the High Elves and the Dark Elves, their legendary lords actually have like a counterpart to each other. Like we have Malekith and Tyrion, both the poster heirs of Anarion and considered the faction leaders of their people sometimes on tabletop. You can never play the Seafarer, the Phoenix King, on tabletop. And Tyrion is seen as the faction leader of the High Elves. Same with Malekith. So you have that. You also have a powerful magic wielder, Morathi and Teclis. advising the faction leader, and both powerful mages in their own right. There is Hellebron and Elario. They shared the DLC together as the Queen and the Crone, Life and Death. And what I would say, the living mirror images of the Elven pantheon, the pantheon of the heavens and the pantheon of the underworld. Then there is Malice, Starkblade, and Altharion the Grim, two grim individuals who have their own quest. Their own quest done with something to haunt, done by like something that affected them, like a terrifying past. Malice got possessed by the demon Tazarkin, and Altharion lost his father and his brothers due to Grom the Paunch. In the game, both of their starter positions can be away from their home base. Altharion, in some cases, starts in the Badlands, and Malice starts in the starts right around the, I can't remember the islands, to be honest. So, but those islands right past the Shadowlands, right around where Emmerich is in Mortal Empires. Both have control over their home province, Hagarith and Yevris, respectively, but they start far away, obsessed with their quests. For Malice, it is conducting actions to try to ensure he has these potions to keep Tazarkin in check. For Altharion, it is avenging his father. That picture of Malice looks actually pretty good, by the way. I think I might use that more often. Anyway, and Alethanar and Lokir Felhart, you have, I would say, the odd one out, but I look at that their styles are different. More lightly armored, Lokir Felhark is that dark swashbuckler that glides in and out as like that pirate, and Alethanar is that sniper that sneaks around and attacks from the shadows. So I would say both of them mirror each other with being an unorthodox fighter, and so that's how I see the two as connected. As you can see, there is one high elf legendary lord that does not have a counterpart, and that's where I think Rakarth is. And it is Emmerich. Prince Emmerich of Calador and Rakarth are like perfect mirror images to each other. Both have awesome looking armor. Both have dragons as their signature mount, and both represents the dual aspects of the relationship the elves have with creatures. All elves, high elves, wood elves, and dark elves, have this attachment to nature, both plants and animals. For wood elves, they live in harmony with it. With high elves, they build relationships based on mutual respect and understanding. For the dark elves, it is based on domination and control. And this is what, and I think this is where we're going to see a degree of similarities. Emmerich is that idea, the noble individual of mutual respect and understanding. He beats the dragons in combat to prove his worth to the dragons. I think Rakarth's quest is going to be to scour the world for various creatures to break to his will. And I think that's what's going to happen. And I think this is perfect to round up the Warhammer 2 Total War section, to wrap up the chapter of Warhammer 2 Total War. And so I feel this is what I feel like is the sort of DLC, the final DLC for this, a perfect ending. All the core races have 6 legendary lords. Sure, the High Elves don't have a legendary hero yet, but every single faction gets reworks over time. I mean, it took Warhammer 2 Total War and the Vortex campaign for the Wood Elves to gain something. I would not be surprised if the other factions will get their love eventually. So, hang on. But yeah, a Dark Elf DLC roster would be perfect as just the final chapter in the Warhammer 2 Total War before we get on to Warhammer 3 Total War. And that's where we end. You know what? I think I like this picture so much, I'm going to have it as my final picture, or like my final part of the final part of my videos every time I give. So please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you next time. Psych! I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. I could not resist. And this, although I believe the Dark Elves are going to have a play in this, the same friend that I talked about, who doubts new fancy units and might be reskins, he believes the lion's share of this DLC content is going to be a reworking of the Beastmen faction. And I suppose you're surprised, given the fact that I never talk about Chaos too much, because I have a justifiable long-term hatred for these creatures that I do not want to entertain their presence. However, looking at some advice from one particular friend and also Italian Spartacus, he likes High Elves, but he gives other factions support. So I'm learning to give attention to other races, other groups of people, as it were. And to be honest, as time growing on, I'm actually warming up to a Chaos. I mean, I'm looking forward to Khorne and Warhammer 3 comes out, and Ikit Claw and Deathmaster Snitch have actually amused me, to be honest. But I do not see myself liking Beastmen too much. I mean, Beastmen are too much for me, but I'll give it my shot. It's just one of those things. Every person has a certain race, faction, or whatever that they dislike, but given that Beastmen are a Chaos faction, there are justifiable reasons why I don't like them. But I will start with a basic information. Beastmen, as of lore, in the Warhammer universe, they are... First off, no one knows where they're coming from, but scholars in the Warhammer world believe they started with a tribe of humans corrupted by chaos. And that's what these guys are. They are corrupted humans in this bestial primal state. They have no respect for anything and just revel in destruction. These guys have a rivalry with the Warriors of Chaos seeing themselves as the true children of chaos. And what is this? And so that's a basic lore. What's going to happen with the games? Well, these guys need a rework from what I see. Of course, given the fact they have giant-like things that throw rocks, Cygors, I have to say they're pretty tough enough, but that is just me and such. But I would not be surprised in this DLC we're going to get a legendary lord. And there's some options. There's the guy on the right, Gohoros, a Centaur who has an unnaturally long life, and he is the father of 1,000 sons, 1,000 young, and from what I hear, he is. I think this guy is what the Senegor legendary regiment of renown is based on, and he causes nameless havoc. And then there's Torox, the brass bull, who is a Minotaur chieftain who wreaks terror in the old world. And it is said that after destroying a force of the Empire, he fled southward. And from what I glean from the lore, he angered Khorne. Khorne bathed him in brass. And so he has this brass armor, and he is clinking around, waiting to fulfill some curse or prophecy or whatever. But he is rather terrifying. I do not think this is going to be a legendary lord, but this guy's name is Moonclaw. He is a sorcerer, and he scours the land of the old world, furthering the work of Morsalib. And this guy is an afterthought, I admit. But I picked him because this guy was actually came into existence on the Glimmerasut. Basically, I'll tell you what happened. I am butchering the pronunciation, but if you look at one of the earlier videos, like the video before the go to the Total War YouTube page. The trailer, the video before the trailer, it talked about this something Eve. This guy was born on this something Eve, and I'm thinking there is a possibility that to tie it all together, Creative Assembly might pick this guy, like to tie in the whole Warhammer 3 trailer and the Beastmen, like to tie in the the previous two games and this game together, and that's my idea. And we actually have, you see, some units. I took the time to take a look at missing units, and there's actually quite a bit for the DLC to bring some stuff. And if you look at the lower right hand corner, there's monsters. monsters, creatures, and beasts. So this is going to be so yeah. And we got a lot of scary, powerful stuff. Another chariot. We're likely going to have a lot of armor piercing, a lot of problems. There's even a spell casting lord we can also get. And we have two large creatures, as I mentioned. Oh gosh, does that Jabberslide look ugly? I remember seeing that once. I was so my mind could not process it. It was so revolting that I had to forget. I had to leave the Beastmen section. I was looking at the Games Workshop page. I saw that and I was like, oh my word. I backed out just so I could not see this. See that. Oh wow. And now I've gotten older and used to Warhammer Fantasy. That is still a nasty thing. This, I wouldn't be surprised if that guy has something like your opponent gets into contact with it. It might kill your opponent. At the end, I think the DLC is going to be between Rakarth and Torox the Brass Bull. I was thinking about something in the Beast, but I think a better one is the Master and the Monster. The Monster and the Master. Nah, the Master and the Monster sounds better. But anyway, yeah, the previous elf one has the Grim and the Green, and I like elves, and elves come first. So I believe the next DLC is going to be the Master and the Monster, which is perfect. The Beastmaster trying to bring down a powerful monster to break him or whatever, or something like that. And I think that will be a fun thing to pick. I have nothing else to say, really. I mean, I don't know what Torox will be doing. I think it's going to be Torox because he is a highly demanded, well-renowned, known, or should I say notorious, Beastman Lord. And if you see those modded contents, that guy is brought up the most. I don't know what his campaign is going to be, but I highly suspect Rakarth is going to be around leading an expedition away from home to capture and break the various monsters of the world. And he might actually think, you know what, this brass bull would be a perfect addition to my collection of monsters. I'm going to catch him and break him. And that is how I think this hypothetical DLC will go down. And thank you all for taking the time to watch this video. I greatly appreciate it. Don't worry, this is legit. This is a real actual end. I'm going to make an announcement. I am aware that I've been taking a look back throughout my channel, and I happen to notice it is what some people might call, it is in flux. And I am sort of a semi-chaotic person. I follow this view on controlled chaos, so I don't mind if it's in flux. It is, I want to branch out a bit more. I have some other projects I'm planning on doing. I like Warhammer and I'm still going to be doing it, but I have some other plans because Amazon is making a Lord of the Rings TV series, and I think I would like to actually I I would like to talk about some concerns I have, some hopes that I have, and suggestions that I have for making for the TV series. And again, I have some projects I also have in mind. Also, keep an eye on my other channel, The Crusader Historian, because I am planning on looking at making a 4-part series on Total War Troy, looking at it from the perspective of a historian. And I think that would be fun. Anyway, this is the Sage of Calidor. I am out. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and share. I would love to get this channel to grow this channel. I'll see you next time. Bye.